Hi garden friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Era and this is Gardening on Purpose. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A. For today's video, I'll be giving you a backyard tour, just showing you what's flowering, what's poking its head out, and what the garden generally looks like in the middle of February. Let's get started. So first up, we have this part sun and part shade bed here that has gone through a lot of changes and still a work in progress. And here we have, the first thing I want to show you are my hellebore. Hellebore are really tough, and they bloom this time of the year. They bloom when the temperature is a little bit more mild. So late January into February into March, they are pretty long blooming. These two here I got from Home Depot for $19.98 last year. These were the first two hellebores I put in my yard, and they're doing great. I believe these are part of the Ice and Roses series, and this one I think is Ice and Roses Rose, and this one is Ice and Roses Picote, according to the tag. Now this looks like it's gonna get a little more color. It looks more yellow right now, but it's actually going to get a little bit more pinker than that one. And these are really beautiful, guys. Look at them. They are deer resistant and rabbit resistant, and they bloom at a time of the year when a lot of things aren't blooming. So those are two hellebores. And then if you remember, after I bought those two hellebore, I had gone to my county's annual spring sale, and they had a couple of hellebore on sale, but I don't know the variety. So these smaller ones right here, bought them, and they didn't really bloom when I first bought them, but this year it looks like they're going to bloom because they actually have the bud on there. Again, I don't know what either of these three are, but they are looking great here in the garden. Of course, I have my heucheras or my coral bells. These took a beating from the weather lately. Now if you remember, here I had some lyrope, and I moved them and put them as a border in another part of the yard that I'll show you on later on in the month. Also in this bed we have some ornamental kale. These were also in containers, and they just weren't doing well for whatever reason, because I've had them in containers before and they did quite fine. But I guess because of all the rain and all the snow and all the stuff that's going on, I took them out and put them in the ground, and they're looking great. These actually, as it gets a little bit warmer and warmer, before it gets to blazing July or June, these actually produce a really pretty yellow flower. I can't wait to show you that. Hopefully in the May or April garden tour. Also wanted to show you the daylilies. These guys are so reliable, one of the most reliable perennials in my yard. These guys never truly went completely to sleep. And yes, the foliage did die off from them, and I pulled it back, but these little green dots you're seeing, these are all daylilies. Same thing with these guys here. These are the Dutch iris. These are blue magic. And these look like that the entire time, guys. I did not realize that blue magic Dutch irises are this tough. Even through the snow, even through all that water and all that cold, it stayed just like that. Hopefully they bloom. Also, I wanted to show you this time is I've got a bunch of daffodils that have poked out their heads. Now, if you remember, back in September and then also in October, I bought a bunch of daffodil mixes, the double mixes. I bought a bunch of, I think it's King Alfred, and I bought some ice follies. So they're all in here in a mix with the irises. I have some bearded irises in here. Not sure the bearded irises are going to actually bloom because I bought those as bulbs last year, and I think sometimes when you buy some of these irises, they don't bloom on the first go, but I'm hopeful. Otherwise, the other things that's in this bed are the beautiful Nandina that I keep talking about, because they are really a sight for sore eyes in the garden here in mid-February. It is quite windy today, guys. We had some serious thunderstorms last night. I kept saying to myself, oh my goodness, I hope the house doesn't wash away. It was so much water and it was so much thunder and lightning. But I came out today and all was well. Also, in this bed, we have some other shrubs that I moved around, and I showed you those in another video. Actually, I had moved around some azaleas, some of my fragrant tea olive. These were all in clearance plants that I didn't know what to do with, and I ended up moving my edible garden to another part of the yard, and that's what those are. Hopefully they transplant well and they'll produce for me later on in the season. Here's another perennial bed. This is with daisies and veronicas, and I have a azalea in the middle, and then I have two salvias as well. Not much to look at, but they need to be cut back, and you'll see a cut back video coming next week. But these are all going to sleep, and the bed is looking the way I want it to look. Same thing with this bed right here. These guys get sun up to around 3 o'clock, and they do quite fine. This bed has daisies, black-eyed Susans, and also a azalea in the middle. For this bed here, what do we have here? We have some sunshine ligustrums at the back there. Those yellow guys there are sunshine ligustrums. Then I have these pancake arborvitas. They look brown, but they're quite fine. That's what they're supposed to look like in the winter. And then I have some knockout roses in here, and then I have some daisies that never completely went to, well, they did go to sleep, but then the new foliage is already showing up, which I need to cut back. I also have some blanket flowers in here. I have some yarrow. I have some agapanthus in here, and I have my blue star juniper. Again, this is what the garden looks like in February. Back in the back right here, I have some butterfly bushes. These are going to be the royal red butterfly bushes. They were actually over on another side, but because they go so big, I wanted to give them a spot where they can do what they want to do. And I think back here is the perfect spot. I had them over by the other roses, and they were too big, and I wasn't keeping up with the pruning. But back here I have some royal reds, and I have some Nanho purples and some Nanho blues. Here is another bed. This is one of the newer beds. This one I have in the middle is a beauty berry. This is Pearl Glam Beauty Berry that I need to cut back, but I just left it up just for something to look at in the middle. And then surrounded by 3 azaleas, and you might have remembered seeing my clearance plant. This is the Diamond Spire Gardenia. Now this guy here, as you can see, that all that brown stuff is damaged from all that cold that we're just not accustomed to getting. And on top of that, this plant here is hardy from zone 7 to 10, and that means that anything that stays, below freezing too long is actually going to damage the plant. But it should be fine. It's an evergreen. The only thing that I don't want to happen is for these leaves to turn yellow, because that's never a good thing when the leaves turn yellow. I'm okay with a little burn here, a little burn there, but I just don't want the leaves to turn yellow, because that's when I know I'm in trouble with the gardenia. Okay, so the next bed I want to show you is this guy here. This is this is the very first bed I made. I was very ambitious. I made this long bed when I decided to garden in this yard. And of course, the one thing I want to show you here is the blooming. This guy here is a daffodil, and that's the one thing that's blooming right now in the yard, guys. Now, what type of daffodil it is, I don't know, because when I bought it, I really wasn't paying attention. I just was buying things because they were pretty, and I didn't have the channel yet, so I just planted it. So I don't remember what it is. So let me just come show you. If you know what it is, then you can see. So this one has a really nice bell-shaped yellow, deep yellow, surrounded by 6 petals that are even a lighter yellow, and they look really great. I have that one there, and then I have another one that's trying to open. It hasn't opened yet. Here we have even more daylilies. As you guys know, I don't know if you know, but I really like daylilies. They are so reliable. They're so tough. And the ones that I have are reblooming. They just don't bloom one time and then they're ugly. They bloom and bloom and bloom all the way, guys, to November, to Thanksgiving, and that's just a beautiful thing. And these daylilies here are what I bought from either Walmart or Lowe's in the bare root form, and I've done videos showing the how I pot up the daylilies and get them ready for the landscape. Here is my Canyon Creek Abelia that I cut back and is putting on some new growth. This is a beautiful plant, guys. This guy is so like unassuming, but the pollinators go nuts for those little white and pink flowers that they have. I want to show you that guy when it's blooming because it's going to be covered in bees, covered in all kinds of stuff. Butterflies love this plant. Also here, again, it's just a bunch of things that need to be cut back. Here, I have my cat's meow nepeta that you can see at the bottom. You see that? That's all new growth, which means this needs to be cut back. All of these guys are going to be in a cutback video come next week. Same thing with my mums. You guys remember when I first moved here, I was buying mums and putting them in containers and then kind of throwing them away. And then I learned that if you put the mum in the ground, in time, it will come back. And this is 3 years worth of mums that have come back. So I really don't need to buy mums anymore. And then here is a Distilium. This is a Bayou Bliss that got damaged. It's one of the newer clearance plants. Again, this is damaged, that brownie stuff there. I'm not worried. I'm only going to start worry when the leaves start to fall off the actual plant. Here's another daffodil that's trying to open. I think it's the same type of daffodil that the one I just showed you, but again, I just don't know the names. I think I'm going to move all the daffodils out of these beds and put them in an area that I'm going to show you on later. One sad note, guys, my Forever Goldie is not doing well. You might have remembered I did a video not too long ago, a couple months ago, where I showed you I had bought 35 clearance plants in one day at Lowe's. And in that video, I had showed you the Blue Point Juniper. I had shown you, I think I had bought like 6 Blue Point Junipers. I bought 2 Forever Goldies. I had bought some Heucheras. 1 Forever Goldie, and I'll show you right there. This Forever Goldie is doing quite fine. It's nice and gold and yellow like it's supposed to be. But this guy here is all brown and done. This is way past just having a brown hue. This thing is not looking good at all. I planted them both at the same time in the same type of soil, the same everything, and this one, for whatever reason, didn't do well. So I'm gonna have to take it out later on in the season. But otherwise, the Blue Point Junipers, they are loving it here, and I'm so happy. These were all clearance plants. These were usually $24, so I got these for $12 in a 2-gallon too. Back here we have a Nightlight Chamaecyparis, some dwarf Burford hollies. Got a bunch of dwarf Burford hollies that look really great. They are evergreen and they do well in my yard. And then in the back here, you're going to see these brown guys here. These are all going to be Limelight hydrangeas, because I found these one day and I was so surprised. I found these at Lowe's on clearance. These guys at my Lowe's, they never seem to go on clearance, and I was so happy, because one of the reasons I don't have Limelights or on some of those other proven winner stuff is because those things are so expensive. And I was so happy I grabbed them. I grabbed all 5. These were usually $29.99, but I ended up getting them for $15 for a 2.5 gallon. Also back here is one of the most reliable plants. One of my lovely plants is my sedum. This is one of my favorite perennials, and I love when it's starting to put out new growth. Again, just like every other perennial, I just have to cut back all that old foliage, and this guy will grow, and the mound will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it'll be this beautiful plant. Also back here, so now I'm closer to the ditch garden. So let me just show you. I put a video up back in September where I planted these daffodils. And I remember a couple of people were saying, why are you planting the daffodils so early? You're supposed to plant them whenever. I think you're supposed to plant them in fall. But I planted them. I was just too excited, and they're all coming up. See, they're all right here. They're all coming up. All these are daffodils that I planted. Back here used to be a completely different garden, but then the plants didn't really do well back here, and I wanted to put the daffodils somewhere so that when they're done blooming, if they don't look that great, they won't be in the way. So this should be a really nice show come next month. March If these things bloom and look the way, because there's a mixture of peach and white, yellow and white, red and white, all kinds of daffodils, and I can't wait to show you that in a special video. But those are back in the ditch garden, and they came through the clay really great, guys. That's because I had put my pine bark soil conditioner in it to help them, because of course they're a bulb, and you know bulbs don't fare too well in clay, but I made sure that I amended that clay so that it won't be that bad. I have a little path here. That's what this paper is. I'm going to actually put some paving stones here so I can actually have somewhere to walk. But on the other side of this quote-unquote walkway are some more daffodils, guys. Can't wait to show you these when they bloom. So on the east side of my fence, not much going on. You might remember that I have my my recurve privets as my hedge plant that I'm hoping to grow and, you know, create a buffer between me and my neighbor. But everything else is pretty much plants that lose their leaves. So I have stuff like roses. All my well, not all, but some of my Walmart roses are here. That's a Walmart rose. That's a Walmart rose. Lots of Walmart roses here. And then I have my crepe myrtles in here. You see that those brown sticks? They're very much alive. I make sure I come out every couple of weeks and do my green test, scratching the branch and making sure it's still green. And then on top of that, I also have some Rose of Sharons that I bought from Proven Winners Direct here as well. This is my official rose bed, the bed that only has roses. And here again, just a bunch of Walmart roses. And as you can see, they are ready to go, guys. So if you bought Walmart roses, it's okay to put them in the ground in late February. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of years, and it works out fine for me. This is the Rio Samba. Looks great. This one is the Love and Peace, and it looks quite fine. I also have Heirloom. I have Mr. Lincoln, I have Cathedral Bells, I have Gold Glow, I have Gold Medal, I have a Sundowner. They're all in here. Here's another bed I have in the middle. This is a Blue Point Juniper, and surrounded by that, again, you'll remember these. These are the Dutch irises, Blue Magic. And then on the edge of the bed is where I have some Stella d'Oro daylilies and some other daylilies. Now, I've moved stuff around a lot. So if you've seen all my tours or my videos or my planting videos, you might say, oh, wasn't that somewhere else? Yeah, because I move stuff around a lot. You know, sometimes when I have nothing else going on, I just like move a plant because it might not be doing too good, or I feel like it's not getting enough sun. Over here, I moved on some other daylilies too. Right here. Daylilies love in moist soil, so this area stays moist and it gets enough sun for the daylilies to bloom. Those daylilies were actually here. You see right here where it looks like something just moved? Because I really need to find some space to put the dahlias. Now, you're going to see another video coming up soon where I'll be showing you how I up-pot my dahlias to get them ready to put in the landscape. And you guys know I complain a lot about not having space, but I keep buying stuff. I really don't know why, but I am just such, like, I just love dahlias, and I needed to find somewhere to put them. So I moved the daylilies and I put the dahlias here. The dahlias had to go somewhere that would stay dry, that would get full sun, and that would be a really complement to the rest of the plants in here. So they will probably go well with the other things that are in here. Here is one of the actually the newest bed in the yard. You might have seen a video where I talked about, you know, the reason why I created that bed and the fact that I am still looking for rocks to finish the outline of the bed. But in here, I just have some azaleas. I'm going to put some other plants in here, but for now, these azaleas are encore azaleas. I have Autumn Royalty, Autumn Lily, Autumn Bonfire in here, and they require full sun. These are the ones that bloom 3 times a year, spring, summer, and fall. The spring and the fall, I find, in my garden are the more prolific blooms, because the summer blooming is so hot, and these plants, you know, even though they can take the sun, sometimes they just like shut down because they can't take all this heat. But the spring and the fall, I find, they bloom better, but they do bloom in the summer reliably. Also wanted to show you nothing yet going on in the edible garden. I still haven't gotten my compost, and I haven't gotten my soil ready yet. My frost-free date is not until the middle of April, and I'm not gonna go fill these guys up yet and then just have the rain wash all the good nutrients out of it between now and April. So I'm just gonna wait until later because I won't be starting things inside. I'm going to be direct and seed everything. You guys know I don't have the space for it, and I don't have the patience, and I don't want to deal with the hard and off period, so I plant direct seed. If you remember, I bought this beautiful Yoshino cherry tree. I'm not going to put it in the ground. I'm going to put it in a container, but I'm just keeping it here for now. It hasn't been, it hasn't been officially planted yet. This guy here, I need to also stake it and protect it from the critters. If you haven't seen the video, I bought this from Lowe's, and my wonderful garden manager already gave me on clearance, guys. You'll see the marker right here. This Yoshino cherry is a spring flowering tree, and it is a beautiful tree. I'm not going to be touching it and pruning it and doing anything to it until next year, because I want to see how it blooms and how I want to shape it. But it's going to stay in a container. Don't know if it's going to stay here, but it's going to stay in the container nonetheless, because one, if I ever move from here, I want to take this tree with me, and two, it's just not a lot of good spaces for it because of the low-lying areas that are left back that I have available, and this tree definitely would not do well in an area that stays wet. But this is a Yoshino cherry that I got on clearance for $18. This front bed, you recognize it. We've got some roses in here. We've got some arborvitaes. We have some cryptomeria in here. We've got more of my favorite plant over there. That is autumn joy sedum. It's a beautiful plant. And then the daisies that never really went to sleep. We've got these guys here, which is bee balm. All these things just need to be cut back, guys. I did a lot of work to get my yard to look like a garden, even in the times when we are cold. Even in the times when the weather, it's snowing, I still have something to look at. And these plants did really, really well. Those 2 days that we had snow here in Georgia, I was so happy when I came out because I could still see the garden. And that's one of my goals here, is to make sure, and I say this a lot, I want my garden to look like a garden 12 months out the year. I don't want the garden to completely be a graveyard, or just like completely, like nothing's going on in the garden just because it's December, just because it's January. My knockout roses are all budded up and ready to go. And then here's an evergreen Nandina. These guys here are not as red as the ones I showed you earlier. Not sure, because especially these are in more sun than the red ones, but you never know. I mean, it could be the power of the soil. I actually have no idea why these are not as red as the other one, but these are all going to be Obsession Nandina. So guys, I finally landed on what I'm gonna do with this out of the area with the patio, with the bench. I'm just gonna leave it like that. What happened is that I had too many white pots and it was becoming cumbersome. So I finally landed on putting the 2 black pots that I showed you in what I bought recently, right on either side of the bench. And then from there, just use my Allen and Roth pots and just put like 3 of them right there. And that's that. It was becoming a thing. It was just too much work, and I ended up moving the ones that I have and putting them on the inside of the patio, and I'm going to find something else to put those in. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple and just leave it like that. Right now I have my wintergreen boxwoods in here, and then behind the 3 wintergreen boxwoods I have my Japanese maples that I got from MrMaple.com. These I got, I believe, they were gifted to me. I bought 3. He bought 3 of them. And I think I have Oregon Sunset, I have Katsura, and I have another one. I can't remember it right now. But they're in containers. So they're going to stay in a container. Again, for the reason is, if I ever move, there are certain plants that are coming with me, guys. Some things, are close to the heart, or you spend a lot of money on them. You want to be able to take them with you if you ever leave. But this is how I'm gonna leave this. Once this is painted back here, it will look a little bit better. But I think for now, I'm just gonna go with the black and white pots and just leave it like that. So when somebody comes here, they can just sit down and there's not a lot of pots in their faces. Also, I want to show you, because of all that rain that we got, my bird bats are filled up. And the birds are coming. I'm seeing birds, guys. I'm seeing birds, and they're coming and they're drinking, they're taking a bath, and they're loving that. Obviously, if this stays in there too long, you want to clean it out and to prevent diseases and everything. I also have some pots here that I've kind of lined up here. These are all, these pots were where my grow bags are. And I'm really going to do a push on planting food this year. As you know, I started gardening, planting edible stuff, and then the critters just like was ravishing my stuff, and I kind of got discouraged a little bit. But this year, it's go time. I'm not playing around with my edible garden. But anyway, though, I'm going to be planting all the edible foods in grow bags. But where the grow bags are right now is where these plants were, and I'm going to have to switch around what's in these pots because the sun exposure for here is part sun, and I don't think my iris would really like that, so I might have to move that iris. In this pot here is Amethyst Falls Wisteria. This is my arbor that I bought on Amazon. Let me back up so I can show you. Bought this arbor on Amazon. I really like it. And when in those two pots are Amethyst Falls Wisteria, and when they grow up on the arbor on each side, it's amazing. It's really amazing to watch because it's this beautiful purple and white, really nice. If you have an arbor, if you're looking or you're trying to find something that climbs other than roses, the Amethyst Falls Wisteria is a great option. It takes full sun, it does well in the container, and I really like it. And again, you guys know I love purple, so anything purple will do. Here's another cherry tree. This one I was gifted for Valentine's Day 3 years ago. And the thing is, I needed to get, this is an edible cherry. An edible cherry, this is Bing, and I was supposed to get a special type of cherry, a Van or a Stella, to pollinate it. Well, it's just too expensive online, and the stores never seem to have it. So I've decided to turn this into an ornamental tree. And again, I put it in the same type of container. And I'm gonna just make it an ornamental tree and just enjoy the flowers. Finally, guys, one of the stars of the winter garden is this beautiful yucca. This is Adam's Needle Yucca Color Guard, and this one here is a beauty. It is quite cold hardy, it is quite tough, and in the winter time it actually has this red hue going on. Normally it's a variegated plant which is yellow and green, but in the winter it picks up that really nice red. I had bought a bunch of them and I gave 2 of them away, and I have 3 here, but for whatever reason this one here is outperforming the other 2. Look at right here. And don't know why. As you can see, they're right next to each other. It couldn't be an issue of soil. It could be the fact that these are kind of close to each other, which I need to move them. But look at this beautiful yucca, guys. It blooms. Hasn't bloomed for me yet, but I know it does bloom. It is a really nice sight to see in a winter garden, guys. Let me know if you have the yucca plant in your yard. Otherwise, this is what my yard is looking like in the middle of February, guys. I am really proud of my yard. I put a lot of work into this, and I'm excited to show you what's next for March 2025. Let me know what you think of the yard and how yours is doing. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Remember to hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I put out my newest video. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.